People say 3 in the morning is the witching hour. Some Christian channels even call it spiritual warfare. Bind it, plead the blood, wage war. But the Bible tells a completely different story. In Scripture, the night isn't where God leaves you. It's where He finally gets your full attention. Think about the last time it happened to you. You went to bed fine, no alarm set. And then suddenly 2:47 a.m., or 3:12, or 3:33, your eyes are wide open. You feel alert, almost like someone tapped you on the shoulder, and you didn't know what to do with it. Maybe you grabbed your phone. Maybe you lay there staring at the ceiling, waiting to feel tired again. Maybe someone once told you it was a demonic attack, and you spent 20 minutes whispering warfare prayers into the dark, half convinced, half embarrassed. Here's what nobody told you. The Bible has a very specific template for this moment, and it doesn't involve warfare or worship playlists or binding anything. It involves 3 small things. And once you know them, you'll never lie there confused again. The template comes from a boy named Samuel. He's sleeping in the temple when he hears his name called. He gets up, runs to the priest Eli, and says, "I'm here. You called me." Eli says, "No, go back to sleep." This happens 3 times, 3 times woken, 3 times confused, until Eli finally understands what's happening, and he tells Samuel exactly what to do. 1 Samuel 3, verse 9 says, "Speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth." In other words, don't panic, don't perform, just say, "I'm here, I'm listening." That's the whole template, and it breaks down into exactly 3 things. Thing number 1, stop reaching for your phone. Here it is, 3:17 a.m. The phone face down on the nightstand, the ceiling above you, the instinct to flip it over the news, the scroll, the blue light escape. What if you didn't? David wrote about this. Not from a place of comfort, David wrote it with armies outside and betrayal fresh. Psalm 4 verse 4 says, "Stand in awe and sin not. Commune with your own heart upon your bed and be still." Commune with your own heart. Be still. David isn't telling you to entertain yourself back to sleep. He's telling you to go quiet. Go internal. Go still. The phone is the fastest way to turn a divine invitation into a wasted hour. Not because the phone is evil, because the phone is loud. And what's trying to reach you in the middle of the night isn't loud. It's quiet. It's a thought that surfaces, a name, a verse, a sense of direction that doesn't come with noise. You can't hear it if you're scrolling. So the first thing you do when you wake up, nothing. Don't move toward the phone. Don't move toward the TV. Don't move at all. Just stay there. And if you've ever lain there not knowing what you were supposed to do, you're not alone. Some of the most significant encounters in Scripture started exactly like that. Someone woken in the dark, completely unsure what was happening. No instructions, just the open eyes and the waiting. That's enough. That's actually enough. Thing number 2, say something small. Here's what most people miss. Samuel didn't have a prayer prepared. He didn't have the right words. He was a child who'd never heard God speak directly before. And what Eli gave him wasn't a warfare declaration, or a formula, or a 15-minute liturgy. He gave him 5 words. "Speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth." That's it, 5 words. The smallest possible door you can open. In other words, Eli didn't prepare Samuel to pray. He prepared Samuel to listen. The 5 words aren't the performance. They're the permission. They're the way you tell God, "I'm awake. I know this might be you. I'm not going back to sleep yet." You don't need to know what to say. You don't need theological language. You don't need to sound like a pastor or a prophet. You need 5 words, or 5 of your own. "I'm here, I'm listening." That's it. That's the whole thing. God isn't checking your posture, He's checking your pulse. The bar is lower than you've been taught. Samuel was a child in the dark who'd never done this before. And that was enough. If it was enough for him, it's enough for you. Thing number 3, stay quiet long enough to hear. This is the hardest one. Not because it requires effort, but because it requires restraint. You said the 5 words. Now you wait. Not for 10 minutes. Not for a vision or a voice or a feeling you can describe at church. Just 60 seconds, 90 seconds. The quiet that feels like nothing but isn't. Elihu says something sharp in the book of Job. Something people skip over because it's surrounded by a lot of long speeches. But this part is worth stopping for. Job 33, verses 14 through 15 says, "For God speaketh once, yea, twice, yet man perceiveth it not. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, in slumberings upon the bed." Read that again. God is speaking. The problem isn't that he's silent. The problem is that man perceiveth it not. We don't perceive it. We roll over, we scroll, we fill the space before anything can come through. The night is one of the specific places Scripture shows God reaching people, not in spite of the darkness and the quiet, because of it, when the noise of the day is gone, when the to-do list isn't competing, when you are, finally, still. A thought surfaces, a name you haven't thought of in weeks, a verse you memorized at 14, a direction that wasn't there when you closed your eyes. That's what the 60 seconds is for. Not dramatic, not overwhelming, just noticeably there. Stay long enough to notice it. Here's what ties all 3 of these together. Samuel didn't do anything complicated. He didn't wage war. He didn't perform. He lay still. He said 5 words. He listened. And Scripture records that from that night on, God spoke to him regularly, and none of his words fell to the ground. Not because Samuel was special, because Samuel learned to respond. The wake-up you've been dreading might be the gentlest thing God does all week. Not an attack, an invitation. The night isn't where he abandons you, it's where he finally has your full, undistracted attention. No meetings, no noise, no screen, just you and the ceiling and the quiet that's actually not quiet at all. You've been lying there confused because nobody gave you the template. Now you have it. 3 things. Stop reaching for your phone. Say something small. Stay quiet long enough to hear. The hour you've been afraid of is one of the most consistent patterns in Scripture. God speaking to people in the night. Not to punish them, not to frighten them, to reach them. You are not under attack. You are being invited. Tonight, before you sleep, pray that prayer from where you are. Don't kneel if you don't feel like kneeling. Don't fold your hands if you can't. Just whisper those 5 words. Speak, Lord, I'm listening. And then give him 60 seconds of quiet. That's the whole practice. That's everything Samuel learned. That's enough. Tonight, the invitation might come at 3 in the morning. Don't sleep through it. If this video shifted how you see those middle-of-the-night wake-ups, share it with someone who needs to hear the truth. And if you want more Scripture-based truth that breaks religious myths and gets back to what the Bible actually says, click the like button and subscribe to Bible Unshaken. Heaven doesn't sleep. And tonight, neither did your invitation.